Hello there fellow humans, and today I'll be showing you 5 key tips to become a better player in World of Tanks Blitz. And first of all, if you're a new player and you start off at this and you want to get to this, what line should you take? What is the first line that you should grind? And you already seen it there. It should be, in my opinion, the line to the T125, because it's the easiest to play. It is very consistent. They have gun depression, good turrets, and very good guns, and they're very forgiving. A lot of people do go for the E100, but I don't think that is a good idea, because the E100 requires advanced skill to play because of the flat armor. So you need to know better angling tactics and all of that, and that you can go for later. First, if you need a solid T10 vehicle that is very forgiving and has good armor, it has a good gun, it has good mobility, this is the one to go for. Or if you would want something a little bit more faster, then I would recommend either the E50M or the T62A. That's up to you. But now let's get started with the tips, and obviously they will be more general tips, because in the end you're the one playing the game and you have to make the progress in the game. Any guide that is made can only tell you so much. The actual progress, the actual learning, the progress has to be made by you. No guide can do that for you. And with that, we get to the first tip, and that is obviously awareness. What does that mean? Well, it means if you start off the game and you're in tier 1, what you already do when you buy the tank, you don't instantly go into battle. You look at the statistics. What is the tank good at? What is the tank bad at? And then what you do is you jump into a training room. You get into a training room and you play the tank, so you get accustomed to it. And once you feel like you know what the tank's good at, what the tank's bad at, then you can get into a battle. And before you do that, another thing that you can do, there's a lot of training rooms out here with a lot of different maps. Because if you go into battle and you're not aware of the tanks that you play and the maps that you play on, you won't have a really good time. So that's the first thing for you to do. Learn the tank that you're playing and learn the map that you're going to be playing. And let's do Fort Despair here, because this is the first map that we're playing as tier 1. Let's do a few examples here. For example, when you have a T125, you can go to a lot of different positions, like this. Or if you have an E50M, you can take these positions, for example. And then when you have other tanks, like for example an Object 268, which is the first tank that I recommend, go here. So that is the first thing that you have to do in the game. You have to learn the tanks and the positions that tanks can do, because then you can get the best out of it. And that brings me to tip number 2. Use what you have. Basically, what that means is when you have, for example, when you have the T135 right here, what you do is you look for a ridgeline. With tip number 1, you hopefully know where all the ridgelines on the maps are. You know that, you look for a ridgeline, and then you play the tank from there. And then you can do the maximum damage, obviously, because you have gun depression, because you have good turret armor, and you have also good mobility to get into those positions faster than, for example, an E100 can. So first, be aware of your surroundings, and then use that awareness to get the best out of what you have. And then, well, once you've done that, once you're good at playing certain positions and playing those tanks, then the next team, what you do, because World of Tanks Blitz is a team game, it is a 7 versus 7 game. What you do with those positions is you support your team, or use your team. Depends. If that is also has to do something with awareness. If you spot that one of your team's players is very, very good, then you have to try to support him. Maybe take a shot for him. Maybe go with them to support them and do some damage from behind them. Or if you see that you have a very, very bad player on your team, then what you can do is you can go behind them and use them as your meat shield to cause damage to the enemy team, for example. So that is another important thing, that you have to understand your team. You have to understand the tanks on your team. What tanks do you have? What tanks do you play against? And there's nothing that I can teach you. There's something that you have to find out for yourself. You know, no guide can just be like, if you have this, then you exactly do this, because every match, every player, every tank is played differently. In one match, the E100 goes to the city, and the other match, the E100 goes into the field, and ammo racks them. So you can never ever actually prepare you for the reality of battle. So you have to learn it yourself, and you have to learn it by doing a lot of battles. And then, once you support your team, once you know what you're doing, there's two things that you gotta do. Have fun, obviously, because if you don't have fun in the game, then why do you play it? And second of all, you should be able to carry on weight, which means, for example, this vehicle here has 2,850 DPM, and it has 2,300 hit points, which means if you do an average of 2,000 damage, you should be doing pretty fine. If you do less, then you gotta try harder. That is what it means, because if you don't carry your own weight, like if you don't get back what you bring, then you're a burden for your team, and I don't think anyone wants a player on their team like that. So don't be that player. Be better. And that comes to the fourth tip, and that is analyze your matches. But once you get into battle, let's do that. Let's do a live thing. Let's get into the battle right here. When you get here, you already know, you're already aware, you know your maps, you know your tanks, you know what you got, you know where to go with it once you get a certain map, and you know once you get into that position, you gotta support your team. And in the worst case, use your team. So let's see. Now we're on this map, Noob. We're in E5. We know the gun diversion spot where we gotta go. And now we look at the team. Both teams have a grill 15. We have 3 tank destroyers, they have 3 tank destroyers. We have 2 medium tanks. They have 2 medium tanks. They have 1 actually. In fact, I count the K91 1 as a medium because it pretty much is. So they have 2 fast vehicles. We have 2 fast vehicles. Ours are better. And now we can already see our team is going into the city, which is a very bad thing to do. There's one thing. Don't ever go city as a full team, because number 4, map control. You need the map control. If you don't take map control in your battles, you're not gonna win. If you cuddle up in one corner like these dudes are doing, then you're not going to achieve any victory of any sort. But now I have the E4 and I have the E5 here, and I'm going up to this position because I can use my gunner bridge here. I can use this little ledge here to hide the lower plate and shoot over it if there is any enemies, but we can see that there aren't. We count, that is another thing, count your enemies. There's 4 spotted right now, so we know there have to be 3 people somewhere else, and there is another 2. Now we know the whereabouts of 6 enemy players. That means we are missing the 704, I believe. And now I'm sitting up here and I can get side shots. Have good position. Obviously, good position is something that you yourself have to learn. And that's nothing any guide can ever teach you. So now I'm pretty much in the middle here, but as you can see, I'm up here. Have the gun depression, have the turret armor. I can shoot down. And the grill can't do anything, and the Vickers can't do anything either. But obviously one thing that you can never ever account for is the teams, because sometimes the teams are just, well, incompetent. Ow. See, I peeked too much there. The Vickers is coming up. He's playing this very, very well. He's trying to come up, and now I gotta go back here. Wiggle. There's another thing to do. Just wiggle your tank. I'm bouncing 2,000 damage already. Well, you can see positioning and awareness is very, very important. For example, I peeked too much on the grill and I got shot for 700. And well, now you can already see that even though I am playing a pretty good position here, there's not a lot I can do because the entire team's dead. So don't be that city. Don't be that guy that just goes into the city and dies. Please don't be that guy. Well, and please don't be that guy either that's just being toxic because he's bad. Don't do that. Just be a nice person. Now, obviously, this is very critical here because I have to always constantly look around, look what am I doing, where are the enemies, where can I shoot, and trying to not shoot the wall there, and try and still do the best, even though this is probably not gonna be a full victory. Gotta go forward a little, trying to get myself up into the ridge. And those are the little tricks that are gonna make you better. Now, as you can see, what happened at the beginning, the enemies spread out across the map, here, 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 and my team just went in one blob. That is what I mean with use your team. If you see that your team's traveling as one blob, then basically what you have to do is you have to go to the other side and try to get some side shots so they don't die. I gotta angle to the VK and try and keep the grill from killing me. But obviously I'm alone now versus 5, and even though I'm not the worst of players, I'm not that good to win on 300 HP. Because I'm gonna get flanked from behind in a second, and I'm dead. There we go. Maybe we can take the grill. Yes, we can take the grill. There you go. That is 4,300 damage blocked in just a random battle that I played. Even though we lost, we did the best. Out of it, there's 2.8k damage and 4,000 damage blocked. Obviously, you have teams like this sometimes. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you know what you're doing in your tanks, and if you have the right positioning for your tank, and if you know every spot, then this is what's gonna happen. And then, obviously, we come to the 5th tip. That is, after you play the battle, for example, you click here, you look at the battle screen, and there is this button right here. Because tip number 5 is learn from your mistakes. For example, if you're in a position and you get shot from somewhere from the side, and you go into the replay, and you watch that replay, and then you understand, okay, I got shot from this position, that's where the guy is, and so that is what I have to watch out for in the next game. Because, obviously, if you analyze your mistakes, you won't make them anymore. If you just be like, unlucky, then it's gonna happen to you again. And that is not the way to improve. It just isn't. So, to sum up, what you have to do to get good in this game: learn your maps, learn your tanks, be aware of the positions you can play in whatever tank you have. Like, for example, if you have an M48 pattern, you play different positions than you play in an E5. If you have a 57 heavy, you play different positions again. And, for example, if you play a grill, you play completely different positions entirely. So you have to be aware of the maps, where you can play, for example, in a grill 15, where you can see it without being spotted, and where you can go when you get spotted. Then, obviously, use what you have. You simply, when you have a grill, you have no armor, but you have a very accurate gun, you play from the back. If you have a mouse, you have very, very good armor. You're sitting at the front. You use that armor to angle and to block damage, so that your teams can do more. Obviously, your team. You support your team. In a grill, you try to get a position where you can get the most shots at the enemies, so you can do the most damage. In the mouse, you try to take a position where you can tank a lot of damage, and maybe hold up 3 or 4 tanks by your own, so your team can advance and kill the enemies. And so you can win. Or you can see that your team is going into the city, so you're sitting in an E50M, and you're taking a passive position out in the field, so you can spot them, so your team that's camping in the city may have a chance to spot them and to shoot at them. So there's all things that you can do. And then obviously number 4, play the right positions and do the right things for yourself. And then once you did that, once it didn't work out, you analyze what you did wrong and you learn from it, and eventually you will be able to kick some ass. Thank you very much for watching. See you the next time. Goodbye.